Good morning, welcome to Morning Outlook. This is Kim speaking on Tuesday the 29th of January. So looking at the euro dollar this morning first, and well, it's sport things. It isn't giving me much of a chance to get into a trade this morning. I was thinking after yesterday, well, we'll get a little bit of retracement and pop into it, but it never happened. It happened quite early on. Of course, I would have liked to have seen it, well, actually yesterday actually, looking at the wrong point here. It happened again this morning here, early on, around about 1 o'clock in the morning, pulled back to the pivot to 21, nice combination, off it's gone. Now, it's double topping here, there's probably a bit of divergence over, let's have a look, yeah, a bit of divergence running over there. There's the weekly pivot untouched below. There's a possibility we could get a rollover. It hasn't yet gone up to its R1. If it clicked its R1, I'd be less keen to really trade it, although it's quite a pinch day. It didn't really move massively yesterday, back into its normal, I say normal, but more recent sort of range of lesser price action. In fact, what did it do yesterday? Some 53 pips, yeah, not a lot. But I'm looking to see how this reacts. Now, as I say, there is the divergence there. There's a trend line running across here. I would look to see how that's broken. If that's broken and it starts passing that 21, I may be looking for the short side. We'll see how it goes. Still looking, well, I would be looking then down towards the R1, probably as far as I can see today that we could move. May move a bit further. If it starts pushing on, well, it gives me to the weekly pivot, but at the moment iffy. It still has something to be aware of in all this bittiness that's there. It still has on a very short term here, intermediate time frame, it's got some high lows, high highs, but not quite doing too much apart from this double top at the moment. Now that will all be of course, if it breaks the highs here, well, I'll just leave it to be, and I can't see a way of getting into it at the moment for sure. Okay, pound. Now the pound's gone a bit droopy. Yesterday, bearish army there on the candles. If you follow your candles, it has got the weekly pivot below, which is something I mentioned yesterday. Was looking to see if it got it. It finally dulled down a little bit. It could be running back towards that. Bit bitter yesterday, to say the least. I mean, it just got into a sort of a relative choppy, shorty sort of price action here. Eventually, sort of lower highs coming through. It's broken the original trend that was running up there, but it's mainly walked out of it. Now it's almost down to its S1. But it's a very pinch day here, so I would expect it to run further. But you just see how it runs this morning. It hasn't quite caught its daily pivot yet. It may yet run up and do that round about the 8 o'clock time, maybe a little bit after. So I would prefer to see that hit first, because there's just a high probability of it being hit. Now, at that point, it might give a setup if it hasn't before then. So I should watch it carefully. I would like to play it to the downside a little bit. I think these markets are getting the jitters ahead of the next vote, which is coming up on the 31st, I believe. Yeah, parliamentary Brexit vote 31st. So according to my big picture. Right, okay, there we go. So would prefer to be erring on the short side. I think the bit of uncertainty kicking, well, a lot of uncertainty for sure, but a bit of uncertainty maybe in the markets there that could roll over. Dollar yen now, this yesterday ended up selling off mostly, but again it got a bit sort of both ways. Almost went up and caught its weekly pivot and rolled. Let's bring it down to the hourly here. It wasn't that far short. Sorry, hourly pivot, weekly pivot. Almost got there by midday there, but then rolled over. Then it bounced and had decent bounce, but it's putting in at the moment lower highs, lower lows. And if this is risk back off, well, the yen could benefit and could sell off some more. Again, I would have liked to have seen the daily pivot ticked off there. It hasn't caught it yesterday. Well, it may just not get there. But we'll just watch this post 8 o'clock. There is a bit of divergence across the lows here on the MACD there. Perhaps As I say, we post 8 o'clock, we might get a move towards that 8 o'clock pivot, maybe more. As I said yesterday, when I was, it was yesterday. Am I looking at it? No, it wasn't this yesterday. I was looking, but I can see here it's got that horrible bearish crossover there. Maybe a bit late. I mean, some of these things come in. There's such a delayed indicator, really, in terms of what's happening. It's already been moving down a long way before it actually gets done. So sometimes it's a bit of a continuation sort of signal, but. At the moment, as I said, I'd prefer to see that daily pivot here. If it breaks through that, then the weekly pivot becomes a bit more of a target. But the way it's running at the moment, and it looks like it's a bit of risk off going through, a bit of uncertainty, particularly with the FOMC meeting coming up later this week, it could benefit the dollar yen to the downside. Okay, so Aussie dollar run into the trend I drew on. Did I draw that on last night? Yesterday. Well, I obviously did draw it on yesterday, but it may be in for the big picture. But that's where it sits at the moment. I was looking for a break of that to be bullish towards the 200, but at the moment it's edged off again. But seems to be bouncing off its weekly pivot now, or that sort of area, 34 moving average. So it's sort of bounced off that area. Daily pivot's just above. It may run into that. It's whether or not it pushes further. It's already hit the S1. Chances the R1 being hit as well is less. So it may just. I mean, it's fired up there in the previous hour. If these markets start rolling, well, it may do similar. In terms of distance, well, it moved a bit further than some, but visually anyway. Yesterday it may roll back a bit towards that S2, which is a possible. It's certainly in range. Finally, the Canadian dollar here of the majors. Yesterday bounced there, almost a bullish run. It's pitched out the bottom there, but looking like it's. I mean, the oil price was coming off yesterday. Venezuela's got its problems, but it's not having an effect on the oil prices out there. And well, you can see here it's just chopping around at the moment from this 4-hourly picture. It's off its daily pivot this morning. Maybe if it starts breaking this sort of trend there, it'll be on for its R1. As I say, it really is. It's very much depending on oil prices at the moment. I'll just flick across the oil price. Well, you see how much it came off yesterday, and it looks like it's taken a roll. Nice pattern here at the moment. Looks like it's rolling back towards those lows at 51.50. So there's something else. If you're looking at oil, it certainly looks like a timely little move down there. Right, that's it for me. News-wise today, there's very little. There's the Spanish unemployment data, which is unlikely to move anything. We've got the US CB consumer confidence later on. That might, it never really normally does, but it might create a little bit of volatility, particularly as they see the effect of the shutdown in the US there in terms of the government shutdown, so how that's knocked on the confidence. But it has been running pretty well at a massive 125. It's been sitting, or that's what it's forecast at. 128 it was previously, but see how consumer confidence running. Okay, that's it for me. Have a great day, and I'll speak to you in the morning. Bye for now.